And good Wednesday morning to you. Welcome back to First News here on the 12th day of June, just about 20 minutes in front of 8 o'clock. And now joining us to talk about some of the big topics affecting our state is the CEO and founder of Opportunity Arkansas, Nic Horton. And Nic, welcome back to the show. How are you this morning?
Hey, it's great to be here. It's been a few days, so I'm glad to be back.
Yes, we do appreciate it. And so, Nic, right off the top, the governor made the announcement on social media last night about a special session of the legislature for another tax cut. But it appears that some Democrats, it surprised me, in our state Congress, they aren't exactly happy about helping Arkansans keep more money in their pocket, according to their posts. And so is there a downside to cutting taxes in our state when we deal with a surplus that isn't earmarked for anything each year?
No, there's not a downside, and look, we've seen this consistently the last few years. What's happened over the last 5 years? We've cut income taxes consistently, and what's also happened over the last 5 years? We've had massive surpluses, averaging roughly $1 billion a year, almost every single year during that time frame. And so, you hear all of these scare tactics, and the sky is falling, and it's only for the wealthy, and it's trickle-down economics, and, it's just the same old tired talking points. It's all they have. And honestly, this would be a lot more fun if they would just be a little bit more clever and come up with something new and interesting. But it's all they say, and time after time after time, what we're seeing is this works. When you let Arkansans keep more of their hard-earned money, they're going to spend it. They're going to invest it in Arkansas small businesses and the Arkansas economy. Arkansas small businesses are going to create more jobs and hire more people, and our state economy is going to continue to grow. And that's exactly what we've been seeing, and I think we're only going to continue to see more of it.
And, Nic, I assume during this special session that being that there's a supermajority with the Republicans, this will have plenty of support going through. There shouldn't be much pushback when the vote comes.
I suspect this is going to pass with supermajority margins in both chambers of the legislature. Yeah, you never say never. We saw last year there was some kerfuffle over a couple of other issues that were also happening in the special session with FOIA reform and other things. And sometimes other issues can bleed in a little bit, but in terms of this issue specifically, I think we're going to see a lot of broad support, which is really exciting. And I will just say, again, the same scare tactics, the same tired talking points they're talking about, and we knew they were going to do it because it's all they ever do. Tax cuts for the rich. Tax cuts for the rich. That's all this is. The governor rewarding her billionaire, millionaire donors.
Right.
That's all this is about. But if you're, just looking at the numbers, it's very, very straightforward. And you can go to our website, opportunityarkansas.org. You can go to the Economic Development Commission website. You can see very clearly, if you're an Arkansan that makes less than $5,100 a year, you pay nothing.
Right.
You pay no income tax. If you make, $5,100 a year or more, you pay 2% of your income in state income tax. The people that are making the top rate right now, and this I think shocks a lot of people, that top rate starts at $24,300 a year.
Wow.
$24,300 a year. That's all you have to make in Arkansas to be paying the same tax rate as a millionaire and a billionaire. And so the other side, it's just classic gaslighting and confusion and confiscation of the issue that they always try to do. But at the end of the day, you're not rich in Arkansas if you're making $24,300.
No.
And you're going to benefit from this tax cut, bottom line.
Yeah. No, this looks like a good thing. And especially when you talk about that there's a surplus that is money that's not really earmarked for anything. We're talking about taking $550 million out of it's a $700+ million surplus right now, I believe. And so that still leaves $150 million of a surplus in there if something does come up. And so this seems like a good thing across the board as we're talking with Nic Horton, the CEO and founder of Opportunity Arkansas. Go ahead, Nic.
And just one more thing I'll throw in terms of the surpluses. We had this exact same debate almost a year ago. Last July, fiscal year ended, and the left came out and they all said, one-time money, wait a minute, we can't use one-time money for tax cuts. We had $1 billion surplus, and they said, we can't use it because it's not going to come back. Well, guess what? Here we are a year later, and we've got nearly $1 billion surplus again.
Right.
After cutting several $100 million in taxes last year. And so That's the point of all this. That for whatever reason, I think some of it intentionally and otherwise gets glossed over. That money does not just vanish. It comes back. It comes back in new sales tax revenue.
Mm-hmm.
It comes back in new income tax revenue because we're creating more jobs and bringing more people into the workforce and into the economy. So they're going to continue to say one-time money and one-time money shouldn't be used for tax cuts. But when it's coming back every year in these surpluses because we're seeing such massive growth, it's not one-time money.
Right. Wanted to move on to another topic, Nick. I got a press release from your office yesterday. It was called the Medicaid Monster, and it's where you talk about the growth of Medicaid in our state and why it needs to be reformed. And so, can you tell us why Medicaid is growing so much and how the state can get after reforming the program into something more sustainable for the state and the people that use Medicaid?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you can hear me. I know that there's a little bit of static on my end. I'm in a bad spot here, maybe, but
you sound
look,
great,
at the end
Nick.
of the day. Okay, thank you. At least you can't see how I look. As long as I sound good.
Beauty of radio.
But very simple. Medicaid is almost a third of our state budget now, and that is a mind-blowing reality for me, and I hope for policymakers and for Arkansans taxpayers that are paying for this program. And when you think about Medicaid, I don't know about you, I've worked in the Medicaid space for more than a decade,
Mm-hmm.
and every time this comes up and you talk to a policymaker or a taxpayer, someone in the general public, they think of elderly people in nursing homes. They think of individuals with disabilities, developmental disabilities, physical disabilities, intellectual, you name it. And you should, in a way, because that's who Medicaid was intended for, and that's why we have a Medicaid program, and we should have a strong Medicaid program. I am very much, an Opportunity Arkansas is very much in favor of having a strong safety net in Arkansas for people that really need it and are uninsurable and have nowhere else to go. We should have a strong safety net. The problem is we have added more than 250,000 able-bodied working-age people to our Medicaid program,
Wow.
which was about a 30% increase in the size of our Medicaid program over the last several years. And so the reality is every penny that's going to that population of people like you and me, Toby, who can and should be working, but they're not, or they're working a little bit, but they're not working too much so that they can keep their welfare benefits,
Mm-hmm.
that those folks are taking resources that could and should go to the developmentally disabled, folks in nursing homes. I mean, what we call the truly needy, that's where those resources should be focused. And we've seen this massive growth in the program over the last decade, but it's not because all of a sudden we have more people with disabilities. It's not because all of a sudden we have more people in nursing homes and an aging population and all these things. It's because we are adding the wrong people, able-bodied working-age people who frankly shouldn't be on Medicaid at all, and we're adding them in droves. And it's draining the state budget. So it's gonna be something we're gonna have to get a handle on very quickly if we're going to continue to make big tax reform.
Well, and if you want to read this article, it's called The Medicaid Monster. You can find it at opportunityarkansas.org. It's right on the front page. Very easy. Just click into it, and you'll be able to get all the information about that. Nick, one last thing real quick on the way out here. The petitions that are going, I wanted to get your thoughts on the amount of petitions that are out there. There's petition events going on now where like all the people trying to collect signatures go to one place and then invite everybody to this one place so they can have this mass party of signing things. My question is what do you think of these events that are being put on? But then secondly, are there petitions out there? Because I never know what these petitions are based on the title that I look at, and so I have to go read them. And so, are there petitions out there that are supported by conservatives right now, or is most of the petitions for the amendments that they want people to vote on are they coming from the left at this point?
Well, here's what I would say, and I think that's a great question. That is the question that everyone should be asking. With supermajorities in the legislature, with the most conservative governor in Arkansas history, maybe that we will ever have, why do we need 10, 12, 15 petitions being circulated every single election cycle in Arkansas? The reason is really simple to me, and it's really clear to me, which is the left and their allies have to circumvent the legislature and our elected officials and our governor to try to drive policy in Arkansas. They know that's the only way that they can get anything done. So there's a couple of amendments out there, the FOIA amendment, a few others that aren't horrible. I think they probably are well-intentioned. But by and large, my gut reaction, and I would encourage other folks, as they're being approached, I'm sure everywhere you go right now, you're being swarmed to ask to sign something. It should be a gut check to you that we have these massive conservative majorities and a conservative leadership in the governor's office, and there's so many petitions to put things on the ballot that don't have to go through the legislative process, that don't have to go through hearings, that don't have to have fiscal notes, that can't be amended. A lot of these are constitutional amendments. They can't be changed if they pass in November, and the voters aren't going to be told the truth about what they do.
Right.
They're going to be solidified in the state constitution. So it's all a big game. I'm a big believer in the people's rights, regnant populace, let the people have a vote. But at the end of the day, people are being tricked into what they're signing and what a lot of these amendments would do. And so I think be very cautious and be very sure you know what you're signing. That would be my encouragement to folks.
Yeah, which means these events could be dangerous. You need to be able to sit down and read all of these, not just go willy-nilly through 15 of them and putting your name on all of them at this point. So
That's right.
Like Nick said.
And we've heard a lot of stories of folks saying, hey, here's a petition, sign this, and there's no amendment even attached to it, which is illegal, by the way.
Right.
But you don't really know. You're signing that piece of paper. They could throw that in the stack of the abortion amendment. They could decide they need it for the education rights, quote unquote, amendment. They could do whatever they want with your signature at that point. And it's by the way, it's public record. So, you sign a petition and it ends up on something you disagree with. That's a public record forever and ever. Amen. So yeah. I think folks just need to be really, really careful and make sure they know what they're signing.
No, I think that's very good advice. Of course, you can see Nick and Opportunity Arkansas. You can see all their work at opportunityarkansas.org is the website. And, Nick, we always appreciate the time. We'll do it again next week, so I appreciate that as well. But thanks for coming on the show this morning.
Hey, thanks as always, my friend.